How do we define intercultural competences? First of all, it's important to define something intercultural as something that oscillates between two cultures, defined as a group of people from different communities that share values and traditions. An intercultural individual is skilled and capable of communicating with other cultures. It is important to acknowledge interculturality as the interaction between different cultures. It is very important to make the difference between intercultural and cross-cultural. Cross-culturality means the difference and similarities made between two cultures through comparison and contrasting. Cultural competence. It is really important to highlight these three aspects: equality, diversity, and inclusion. Intercultural competence cannot be considered only as a tool to achieve self goals through communicating with others. They have more important objectives, such as building constructive exchanges with others from different cultures, building constructive relationships with others, and recognizing unfair treatments towards other specific groups of people. Intercultural communication is really fundamental also, and it refers to the communication between individuals with different notion of culture. For example, someone native from America, from the United States, will not have the same notion of culture that someone who is born in England, even though they speak the same language. Due to describe the intercultural capacities, such as the ability to communicate effectively and appropriately in intercultural situations based on acquired skills and knowledge. To do so, it is important to recognize the value of cultural differences as something positive. It is important to suspend judgments to different people, develop curiosity and tolerance towards other different cultures, be open to learn about them. This allows also to know yourself better, to know better your own culture and your own biases about other people's culture. It is important to observe, listen, and analyze, and to develop capacities such as adaptability, flexibility, and capacity to empathize with others. When we're talking about intercultural competence, it is important to value these five aspects. Values such as variability, diversity, pluralism. Attitudes such as respect, curiosity, and willingness to learn. Willingness to question what is normal and to tolerate ambiguity. Knowledge such as internal diversity. The impact that situational, social, and historical contexts have on people's behavior. The impact of culture and language on people's experience. What assumptions and preconceptions and stereotypes people have. Skills include listening and paying attention to behaviors, having empathy and adjusting and adapting. Behaviors mean interacting appropriately and effectively, and challenging attitudes or behaviors that undermine the dignity and the respect of other communities. Bennett model is really interesting because he states that humans have a natural tendency towards conflict with everything considered different, creating a feeling of uncomfortability and leading to prejudices and discriminatory behaviors. He stated also that to arrive to intercultural sensitivity or being aware of cultural differences, it is important to go through a process dividing ethnocentrism and or considering one culture as principal and the other as comparable to it and ethnorelativism. In the ethnocentrical stages, natural for human beings, we find denials in which cultural differences are seen as meaningless and tend to be overlooked. We rely on stereotypes, which are not able to make the difference between individual and culture, and we show avoidance or disinterest. In the defensive stage, we see difference as threats to our own sense of identity, and we develop mechanisms such as denigration or superiority. The transitional stage is minimization, in which we ignore cultural differences, confusing this with a fake equality under the argument that we are all the same, and we focus on common similarities, like we are all humans. This thought often comes from a place of dominant culture. In the acceptance stage, the first of the ethno-relative stages, we are able to recognize cultural differences and develop curiosity about them. We are able to consider many ways of conceiving cultures and to acknowledge that behaviors are caused by cultural context. In the adaptation stage, We are able to communicate effectively and appropriately with other cultures, and we are also able to empathize and imagine other people's experiences. Finally, in the integration stage, means that we are seen by ourselves and by others as intercultural individuals. Our identities are not based in just one culture because we are able to mix different cultural elements and we can integrate multiple contexts and realities.